How good are you at seizing a fresh start when something else ends in your life? I'm sure you've noticed that endings in this life can be tough. They can be tough, and sometimes they can just downright break your heart. You can find yourself questioning your life and why things are the way they are, but I'm sure you've noticed by now that with endings often come beautiful beginnings. I'm Sage, I'm a growth coach, and the topic today is endings are also beginnings. So, why is it important to choose to see what endings can bring? All right, well, endings can bring real good closure. Maybe you've been holding on to something that is really straining you in life. And if you could release that thing, whew, that just gives you so much more freedom and so much more space to allow the things that are really meant for you, right? Also, endings can provide that big open space for things to come in, because if we're just, our life is just stacked up with stuff that we're holding on to, how do you allow something new? It's the same kind of concept of like you've got a utensil drawer and it's like you can barely pull the drawer open because things get caught, but really you're using like 4 items in that drawer and you just haven't cleaned it out and donated the rest. Well, let's clean it out and then get another new spatula like you actually like, right? Also, endings can bring basically new opportunities and chances that might not even remotely been on your radar yet. It's like the universe knows when we finally have some space or some time. So here's some quotes. New beginnings are often disguised as painful endings. Lao Tzu. And it's never too late for a new beginning in your life. Joyce Meyer. So how good are you at actually seeing the possibilities with different ending situations in your life? And how could you become more open to this? All right, I gotcha. So we're going to go 3 today. 3 ways to see more opportunities during endings in your life. Number 1, notice the lessons. Ask yourself what lessons you've actually learned from this ending. Now, sure, it might take days or weeks or even months to process the grief of the ending, if it's one of those types of endings, and before you're actually able to see the lessons or even ask yourself that question. And that's okay, because processing those emotions is such a key piece. And then there's number 2, notice the space. So what space has opened up in your life? Now that maybe that toxic friend that you're like always running to errands and doing things for and then are never grateful, and they are a user and a manipulator, and you've finally drawn a boundary, and now you've got all these extra hours in your week because you're not giving rides to this person, for example. Number 3, notice the opportunities. So what can you do with all that new freedom now? Part of it is just be very guarded, I guess, and observe yourself. Because I'd say one of the weakest things that we do in an ending is that we check out. So you might notice that your screen time is going way up on your phone. Maybe you can't even find one thing to watch on Netflix because you've burned through it all. That's what we often do when we have an ending, is then we just fill it with a bunch of that junk time, right? So be wary of that. Be cautious of that, because now that you've got all this free open time, I'm not saying you don't need a little time to decompress or grieve or binge watch a series on Netflix, but make sure you don't clutter up all that awesome space and time with something that's meaningless and toxic, because then the universe doesn't have any space to send you those new opportunities. Okay. All right, so circling around, endings are also beginnings. And which of those tips resonates with you? All right, here's your intention. I believe that endings can be new beginnings and fresh starts in my life. Believe it and you'll see it. Thanks for growing with me. I appreciate you. I love this growth community we have. Please comment if this video helped you, and please cheer on other people as they're learning from this growth community as well, because it takes a village. Love ya.